Oratio Imperata. God our Father, we come to you in our need to ask your protection against the 2019 and coronavirus that has claimed lives and has affected many. We pray for your grace for the people tasked with studying the nature and cause of this virus and its disease, and of stemming the tide of its transmission. Guide the hands and minds of medical experts that they may minister to the sick with competence and compassion, and of those governments and private agencies that must find cure and solution to this epidemic. We pray for those afflicted. May they be restored to health soon. Grant us the grace to work for the good of all and to help those in need. Grant this through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, God forever and ever. Amen. Mary, help of all Christians, pray for us. Saint Raphael the Archangel, pray for us. Saint Roch, pray for us. Saint Lorenzo Ruiz, pray for us. Saint Pedro Calungsod, pray for us.
Sana noon pa man ay sinabi na sa'yo, kahit na di na uso ay ito lang ang Alam ko magkahawak ang ating kamay at walang kamalay-malay na tinuruan mo ang puso ko na umibig ng tunay. La 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 Lumipas ang maraming taon, di na tayo nagkita.
Balita ko may anak ka na, ngunit walang asawa.
Tagahugas ka raw ng pinggan sa may ermita.
At isang gabi, nasagasaan sa isang madilim na eskinita.
Lahat ng pangarap ko'y bigla lang natunaw. Sa panaginip na lang pala kita maisasayaw. Magkahawak ang ating kamay at walang kamalay-malay na tinuruan mo ang puso ko na umibig na tunay. Magkahawak ang ating kamay at walang kamalay-malay na tinuruan mo ang puso ko na umibig na tunay. Walang humpay na ligaya, basta mo aking mata. Ngayon ay nakikita.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to CG Live over here at the Philippine Star. My name is Ken Lerona, your resident career guide. Halina kayo, gusto niyo bang sumama? This is going to be a very interesting conversation this afternoon over here at CG Live at the Philippine Star's career guide page. And of course, career guide page is your reliable job search partner. And very exciting, we are streaming over career guide page plus the Philippine Stars Facebook page, where over 4 million followers are in right now. And we're also streaming over Ulearn, our online learning partner. This afternoon, we will be speaking with the amazing people behind the phenomenal Ang Huling El Bimbo. Looking for an encore, this afternoon we'll be talking about performing arts as a career. So ang Huling El Bimbo looking for an encore, a performing arts career conversation over here at CG Live. But before we start, we'd like to thank our very good dear friend, Miss Joy Andrade of Resource World in Manila for making this conversation possible. Maraming salamat, Joy. All right, as everyone is excited, I don't want to make you wait pa. So I would like to introduce our first speaker. All right, our first speaker played the role Hector in Huling El Bimbo. He's also a recording artist and an actor for both theater and television. My good friend, he was my office mate some years ago. Please welcome Mr. Gian Magdangal. Gian, how are you today?
Hi, hello, hi Ken, hi everybody. Good
Hi,
morning. Oh well, good afternoon to
good
everyone, and
afternoon.
thank you for having me here. And I'm just grateful to be on your show, and also a lot of people are watching. So hi there, guys. I know you're all at home or wherever you are with your device, and I hope you're all keeping safe, of course.
Great, thank you, Gian. How are you today? How are you surviving this quarantine?
Well, I'm surviving by staying home. I'm surviving just by really keeping in touch with my family and with friends through online stuff. And right now, of course, I'm very grateful that a lot of people saw the live stream or the stream that we just showed of Ang Huling El Bimbo. And that's keeping me busy right now. A lot of people have been messaging me about it, and I'm really thankful, of course. And that's what's up right now.
Great, great. Thank you very much, Gian. Babalikan natin yan mamaya. More conversation about Huling El Bimbo and your character, Hector. All right. Um, we move on. Oh my God. This is a star-studded episode of CG Live ngayon. So I'm so excited. Our next speaker is the co-artistic director of the Full House Theater Company and one of the many persons behind Ang Huling El Bimbo. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Michael Williams. Michael, how are you today?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you for having us over, and hello to everybody who's watching us today. I'm so excited to be here.
Great. This will be a very interesting conversation, Michael. But just before we start the whole episode, maybe ask you how you're coping with this quarantine.
Well, like everybody else, I'm trying to observe my quarantine, only going out when I absolutely need to get supplies and staying home, occupying myself with whatever's available online, connecting to friends and relatives that way. Like what Gian said, that's the way things are going at the moment. Reading, working on stuff that I hadn't had time for before. Now I have all the time to pay attention to them. Painting, cooking, and all that stuff.
Wow, very interesting. Very interesting. Just keep yourself busy though, instead of complaining that I can't go out. Now you have more time to go
Yeah,
back to reading and do the stuff that you
yeah.
actually missed to do during the busy days pre-COVID. Thank you very much, Michael. We'll talk more after we introduce everyone in the panel. All right. Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is also the co-artistic director of the Full House Theater Company and one of the many persons behind Ang Huling El Bimbo. She also played in one season. She also played the role of Joy in Ang Huling El Bimbo. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Menchu Lauchenko Yulo. Menchu, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I guess this is how it's going to be for a while. But thank you for the invitation. This should be a fun conversation.
Indeed, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Maraming salamat for saying yes to have this conversation with you this afternoon, Menchu.
Oh,
How are you
absolutely.
coping? How are you coping with this
Uh,
quarantine?
well, like Michael said, trying to, stick to the rules so that we can control the virus. I was just having this conversation the other day with, I think it was Michael, and I was just saying at the height before all of this happened, around January, February, I was also busy rehearsing for the band's visit, which never got to open, unfortunately. And I had so much happening, and I was thinking, I go, my God, if I could only have just 2 days, and I don't have anything to do. And careful what you wish, because I didn't think I'd get my wish this way. But now I'm able to do all the things that I kept putting off because I had no time. But I'm running out of projects. So I'm hoping that we have a solution to the virus very soon.
Indeed, we're getting into the new normal, and this also is affecting a lot of other industries, and most
Right.
especially your industry in the theater. I mean,
Absolutely.
a lot of changes have been happening. Okay, we'll talk more about that later, Mencho. Thank you very much. And we go to the last but not the least speaker. Uh, he is one of the most important persons in Huling El Bimbo. He is the director and choreographer of this very, very successful theater phenomenon, not just in theater, but also online. Recently, it has become really viral. And what we learned in our conversation earlier in the backstage is that within 48 hours, ang Huling El Bimbo was viewed for 7 million times and has earned 12 million pesos in total donations. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Dexter Santos. Dexter, how are you today?
Hi, Ken. Hi, I'm okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to our viewers. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. Dexter,
Yes,
kumusta ka
yes.
naman? How are you coping with this crisis?
We're okay. I'm okay. I mean, just like what mentioned Michael and Gian said, of course, we're trying to observe all of those quarantine rules to help, for the spreading of the virus. And with all of the Zoom meetings that we have, of course, there are times that you can actually rest. It's time for you to actually to get to read plays, watch different plays also that have been streaming, and we're very very thankful for the success of Ang Huling El Bimbo. And just like Gian, I'm sure just like the members of the streaming cast, we've been thanking people who have been messaging us about how they felt about the show, and from Instagram and the other parts of social media. So we're very, very thankful. And just like early this morning, we learned about, just like what you said, the 12 million donations, the total number of donations, the total amount of donations. So we're very, very thankful, and we're very grateful for everybody's support.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Dexter. And we are very excited to have this really wonderful conversation with everyone here. And to our audience, if you have questions, please send them in the comment section. I will surely ask them sa ating mga guests and panelists this afternoon. My friend Jing Q, also a Philippine star, she messaged me, nervyos ka ba? No, Jing, I'm very excited. That's why I'm like this. I'm so starstruck. And I believe everyone's also excited to hear the conversation now. And for you who are watching live anywhere in the world right now, please say hi, tell us where you're watching from, and we'll try to read your greetings here in our live show. All right, so let's begin. I guess we can bring in everyone just in the screen, and I'll shoot the first question to Gian. Gian, all right. Let's start with some very basic questions. No? And we'd like to know more about everyone here in the panel. Gian, how long have you been in the theater? How did you start?
Um, Actually started when I did a workshop, actually a workshop for trumpets, and this was back in year 2000. So this would be my 20th year, I guess.
Wow.
20th year. My first musical was Little Mermaid in trumpets. Little Mermaid all in one year. Sane. So that was one of the first things I did, and since then I've been constantly been really active performing. Even when I was working in the same office we were working in, Ken, I had like that was like my day job, and at night I'd still pursue performing or in theater, and yeah, there. So I've been at it for a while also, because I really love it.
Great. What made you stick in the industry, Gian? I mean, we know that it's of course passion, and what else made you stick in the industry for 20 years?
Uh, well, there's so many things that made me stick, but at the same time, it's like a constant battle for myself. Battle meaning it's like a love-hate relationship. It's like there's one day or like one time that you love being in it, And then at the same time, there are a lot of things that say like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, why do I keep doing this to myself? So it's a constant, pushing and pulling of everything. And like I was in corporate, and then after when I was in corporate, I wanted to go back to theater. When I was in theater, I was like, no, maybe I should go back to corporate. So it's a constant. I guess all those years have, I proved to myself that I guess I'm crazy about this. It's a passion. And actually, Metru, I went up to her one time when I was visiting from Japan. I came here to the Philippines just for a short project, but I was really based in Japan at one time. But I bumped into her, and also Michael. I was talking to them, and they know this because I was in Japan. But I said I was really excited to come home to be able to do some theater, and even if it entailed for me to decide on something that, well, to my knowledge at that time was like maybe this is a leap of faith because as a career or as a financial decision, I would assume that at that time that it was a big risk because I was letting down something that I know that would really build up my quote unquote bank account for the next year. But would I be really happy, or was this what I really wanted? And when I came home, all these projects came literally flooding in. That's why I've been so grateful. Well, that was that norm that time.
That's true. I mean, the consideration is not just about passion, but also, as you mentioned, building that bank account as well. Because it's not just about arts, diba? I mean, you also need to pay the rent and put together a stack for your future. Tama ba, Gian?
Of course, yeah, definitely. We all have to think about our future. Practicality. I think I'm a very practical type of person when it comes to my work. Um, Straightforward in terms of like career decisions. But at the same time, you got to be happy at the end of the day. What really makes you happy? Like joy. Like what's your joy? You know what I mean? And sometimes it's not just what like money can't buy love. So uh, you really have to. It's a balance. You really have to manage
Balance.
it, I guess.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for that, Gian. Let's go to Menchu. Menchu, I read up on your really, really amazing career path. And in fact, you're being called the first lady of the Philippine musical theater. But how did you start? I mean, when you started with The King and I, was it in the audition? Can you tell us
Um,
more about your story
yeah.
until where you are right now?
Every time people say first lady of Philippine theater, it kind of embarrasses me because it embarrasses me. But I just do the work, and I'm honored and flattered that this title was given to me. Wow, where do I begin? I started in a long time ago. When I was listening to Gian when he started in the year 2000, I was like, oh my God, he's such a baby. I started in 1978, long time ago when theater was only basically Repertory Philippines and PETA. And I started in theater purely by accident. I had no intentions of going into the theater. It was just one day I was in second year high school and a friend of mine said, hey, there's an audition for The King and I. Would you like to audition? And I had no idea what an audition was. And I don't know why I even went to this audition. And I was 15 years old. And since I couldn't go by myself, I had to have a chaperone. So I dragged my little brother, who was then 12. Long story short, I show up and I realized, of course, all I knew was the movie, The King and I. That's all I knew. I had not really seen theater. I did not grow up watching theater. It was a very limited. It was a very limited exercise then in the 70s. And I realized that auditioning meant singing, and I had never sung in public in my life, but I pursued it. I was there. I joined the audition, and without my brother knowing, I put in his name because he was in the school choir. And at the end of the day, I didn't get in, and he did. And so I always say I launched his career. career because he was cast as Louis, the son of Anna Leon Owens, who was 12. And since I was 15, I was kind of alanganin to be a child and I was alanganin to be a wife. So I went home, continued my life. I was very into my varsity volleyball team. And then, as the cliche goes, I sat in that theater on opening night and the orchestra began and the curtain went up and I fell in love. And I vowed that the following year I would audition again. And that was for Fiddler on the Roof. I got in, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Great Fiddler on the Roof. You know what? That's my mother's favorite. That's my
Really?
mother's favorite. Yeah, yeah. And um, I'm very interested because they said you mentioned it, kanina, you were in the theater industry way ahead of Gian, but then the thing is in theater, the longer you stay there, the more seasoned you become, the better you become. Is it right, Manchu?
Well, yeah, because I was never educated. I didn't study theater arts. I joined the theater. I had no idea what stage left was, downstage, upstage. That was all learned in the process of actually performing. And you have to remember in 1978, Repertory was a very small company of about 15 core actors. And we had 2 seasons a year of 5 plays per season. So that's 10 plays a year and one big musical.
Wow.
So if we were not performing, we were backstage. If we were not backstage, we were front of house. We were doing everything. You do a lead role today and your chorus the next day, and then you're backstage. And so we were trained that way, and we were thrown on stage with the veterans, and it was sink or swim. So Michael knows this because we went through the same thing. We did not have workshops. Those were not the days like now. There's workshops every summer. We didn't have that. Our workshops were given by Zenaida Amador, and she was fierce, as everybody knows her reputation. So it was really a baptism of fire, and you learn by making mistakes on stage, picking yourself up, and just going forward. And that's how we learned. So that's many years of mistakes, many years of falling flat on your face, and just learning from the experience.
Interesting, very interesting. Because even in the office setting right now, a lot of the younger people are very much focused as specialists. And as you mentioned, the generation ahead was lahat tayo. I mean, sorry, makikitayo na ako kasi I still belong to the older generation. Sinanay tayo that we isasalang talaga tayo in the different fields. You have to do everything. Sometimes nga wala pang training on a particular field. Talaga gagawin mo 'yun
Yeah, and you
from
have to
end
remember,
to end.
Ken, when I started, and I think Michael, we had no lapel mics. That was in the late
Wow.
70s, and it was all hanging mics. So they would position us nearest the mic para marinig kami. And this was performances in the CCP in Meralco, and it was one funny story is Repertory always had a well if whenever they could. And that's where they would put the mic. So we were blocked around this well. Like in Fiddler, there was a well, and we were blocked around this well because,
There's a
or we are
mic there.
being blocked by a tree because there was a mic in the tree. So that was our life.
Wow, wow. So you're really trained to do the hardcore thing. I guess, Mike, can you tell us how you started in the theater, and how did it make you who you are today?
Uh, I started in 1982, 1983. At that time, there was no such thing as a karaoke. And the people who like to sing, and I always used to perform in the school. I was part of the Glee Club. I was in all the performance things. I used to hang around this a group of kids who like to go to this friend's house and sing around his piano. And that's what we did. And one day I went over to this guy's house and he said, "Hey, you have a good voice. Why don't you audition?" He was currently doing a show for Repertory. He was doing Annie with Leia at the time. And he said, "Why don't you audition?" And I did. And they took me. And 1983, that was. I did one big musical in Rizal Theater, which doesn't exist anymore. And then they put me into the season, and I just kept doing that year after year after year after year, learning from the likes of Bebot, Zinaida Amador, Baby Barredo, Joy Virata, performing with Junix Inoshan, Miguel Faustman, and all those really, really good theater actors at repertory. And then before I knew it, there was auditions to Miss Saigon in 1989, and I was lucky to have been taken. And I was part of the original cast of Miss Saigon in London in the West End. I did a year with that company, and then I was taken to do to be the romantic lead in The King and I, also in the West End. And I did that, and then I took that show on tour, in a grand UK tour. And then after that, I decided to come back home and work in the local theater industry. And that's how it's been. And then I found my way to Resorts World, and now I'm one of two artistic directors in that company. So that's how that happened.
Really amazing story there, Michael. My question is, how does it feel that when you started, you worked with legends, theater legends, and now you're also considered one of this generation's theater legends? How does it feel?
It's really funny because the one thing that I learned working with people in London, for example, that theater artists are the same the world over. They have the same concerns, they have the same issues, they all want the same things, they all want to perfect their craft. And so there was a kind of a camaraderie with them that was so palpable, despite the differences in culture and nationalities. Because Miss Saigon was a great melting pot. We had people from the Netherlands, we had people from Japan, we had Filipinos, we had a couple of Americans, we had British people, we had Vietnamese people. And, it was a great melting pot, and there was that commonality with everybody, and people like Nick Heitner and Claude Michel and Alain Boubil and all those people had that same quality. They all wanted to do the best that they could, and that I find is universal among theater artists.
So there's no such thing as, you're different, I'm different, I'm the lead here in this particular production. There's no such thing as that. I mean, you work
Oh
together as a team.
no, you see, that was the common thing. We were
Mhm.
all different. We were all very different from each other, and that was the thing that unified us. You know what I mean?
I like
So
that. I like that.
yeah, that I mean, and truth to tell, that's also what theater is. It's a microcosm
Mhm.
of the world. There's so many different kinds of people, so many different kinds of perspective, and somehow or other, there's always space for everybody in theater, and that is also why it's a great educative tool in school, where people, some kids don't have a place to fit in. They always find a place to fit in the drama club or the theater club. There's space for everybody in the arts.
There is space for everybody. All right, thank you, Michael. Let's go to Dexter. Dexter, we're so excited to talk
Yes,
about
Ken.
Ang Huling El Bimbo. Dexter, what was your major emotional takeaway when you directed and choreographed Ang Huling El Bimbo? What's the secret? What made this really very very phenomenal, very successful?
I know it's such a big question. So, so yeah, so siguro medyo madaya ka kaya na sila career tapos ako biglang nag El Bimbo, but that's okay. I was prepared for that, but I think in terms of the takeaway, I really don't want to. I mean, as an artist, I really don't want to explain the work that I do. Because theater is meant to be experienced. Sabi nga
Mhm.
nila, pagdating sa theater, you gotta show it. Don't tell it. So I think it's very important that that what they see in the production, whatever they, as much as possible, like every time I do a production, every time I mount it, it's highly collaborative, and I work with actors, with the artistic team, especially with the artistic directors of Full House Theater Company. From there, we try to create a sensate experience. That's what I want when I work with the theater. That we give a show that that deals that gets to to touch your senses, and it's highly experiential. And I mean, maybe maybe I think, I mean, reflecting on what happened to El Bimbo, maybe because we gave so much to the show, we gave so much to the material, we gave so much to every scene, to the every detail. So I think that's the success behind it. That's all I can say. I mean, working on it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, like I think late 2017, I started working with them. So I think I'm surprised. I'm surprised with the turnout. Just like in any other interview, I knew that people would be curious because, again, it's such an iconic band. The music of Eraserheads in the musical. I mean, that's so far fetched. I mean, that's a dream come true for me, and I was able to live that dream working with everybody. So that's it. In terms of the takeaway, I think there's so much takeaway, and you can see it anywhere. I mean, you can see it from their faces, you can see it from the posts, you can see it from the fan art, you can see it from the reviews, you can see it. I mean, all of the insights from the audiences that we got since 2017, since 2018, from 2019, and now 2020. I mean, I'm really flabbergasted. I'm ecstatic because imagine people are talking about the theater. That's, I mean, all ages. I mean, all classes are talking about the theater, and that's really something. And it may not be Huling El Bimbo, but the mere fact that they're talking about it, they're acknowledging the art of the theater, Pinoy theater. They're talking about our actors, they're talking about set design, costumes, even lights, and Sansamar. That's I'm ecstatic. I love it. I love it.
Indeed. I mean, artists actually don't like explaining what they do in their arts, diba? And then they keep that as an open-ended statement wherein the
Yeah, yeah,
audience will have to interpret that based on how they perceive the whole
yeah.
performance or the whole art piece. Actually, what's really interesting is that, Dexter, a lot of 2 3 years after, a lot of conversations are still happening online. When you aired Huling El Bimbo over YouTube and the ABS-CBN's Facebook page, I wonder, what is your favorite fan art interpretation of Ang Huling El Bimbo? What's your favorite insight coming from the audience as
Naku,
the creator of the art
baka
piece? Yes.
magselos yung iba. Baka magselos yung iba. There are too many fan arts. I mean, somebody did an animation of Tindahan ni Aling Nena, and how cool is
Yeah.
that? I mean,
So
I
cool.
mean, just imagine, like for example, you're just thinking about it, in your minds, and you get to translate it, and you see what you see the actors working on it, working with the creative team, trying to create this mise en scène, that stage picture. Then you see an animation of it, and you hear the music. Then suddenly there are new nuances that you don't see on stage, but it captures the feeling of that actor. I mean, sobrang sarap nun. I have two favorites. So please wag magsiselos yung iba. I have this one. I think I shared it. I asked I think Edgar Torres Jr. is the artist. I messaged him, sabi, can I post this one? Because I think, I mean, like a Korean, I mean, comics, I mean, with all of the characters in it. And you have that pinky thing between Eman and the young Joy. And there's so
cute.
many details in the show. I mean, like for example, even the jealousy, even the color palette, it's actually on the corners. That's lovely. Second one, please don't make celos. I love everybody. Just yesterday, I was browsing it. There's this, I think, parang Japanese art, and it's an alapaap scene. And what's so interesting about it, what I love about it is that they're on top of the car, but that world, I mean, the atmosphere, that's actually that atmosphere that I really, wanting to create. I mean, let's remove the whole proscenio, let's remove the whole fog machine, but it's that freedom, that they're on top of it. And I mean, it's magic realist because it's in an outside, it's non-realist, the atmosphere is there. It's like, parang very, what do you call this, from Sweeney Todd, what they're talking about, they're in the beach and all. I mean, that fantasy. So thanks to that. Please wag magselos.
And a fan was able to capture that emotion, no?
All
right.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. Okay, let's go muna to Gian. Gian, playing Hector, what was your favorite part in that character?
Uh, um, I wouldn't categorize it as a favorite part because the journey of playing Hector, well, for me, because there were two of us, it's me and David Ezra. Actually, he was the only person. It only came to the point when he came on board during the second run that I really was able to talk to someone else about the journey of going through that character because at first nobody could really relate. Only me because I was the only one who's doing it. And then now I have another person. He's gonna do the same thing I'm doing. So before I go say the favorite part, my favorite part was just really to was at the end of the show. For those of you who've seen it, siguro hindi naman spoiler, no? But was really the part when you sing Ang Huling El Bimbo. That was my favorite part because it was a culminating thing and everything that was locked up or everything that Hector was feeling or my character was feeling all throughout since the start of the show. That's the only time that he can really release some of it or that was the form of like somewhat closure pero hindi pa nga closure for his character. So it was that part I guess I could say favorite. But I can't say the word favorite. Favorite's not the word for it because the journey was really stressful. Stressful. Yung parang, I can't say
Sorry
that,
naman,
oh,
Gian.
this is... yeah, parang me and David Ezra would talk about the show and I know we're just playing the part. You know, it's just a show. It's just it's just an act or whatever. But before the show, I would feel like vomiting out of nervousness and out of like getting into this person, this character. And I don't know. I guess I was really taking my job seriously. And he doesn't have I don't want to be a Hector. you, know? I'm not like this in real life. Come on, guys, or something. Or well, if I would say a favorite, it would be a reaction from the audience to me. Like if they get mad at me, as in why are you getting mad at me off stage? Galit sila, umiiyak sila. So I guess that's my favorite part because I did my job. I guess I'm effective. So something to that sense of being or playing the role of Hector, affecting someone on a personal level, and them realizing also or getting the message of the whole musical.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Gian, as I discussed earlier in the backstage, that when I watched the first season, you were the Hector in that season, and I almost died crying because I can relate. I can very well relate with the story, with the music. It's my age, right? And all the memories from my UP days really went back. So hi also to my friends from UP because the most powerful part of Ang Huling El Bimbo to me was the ROTC part. Kasi every Saturday then, every week, nag-ROTC kami eh. So alam namin ang hirap at saya ng ROTC. So I cried terribly. And even my friends who are watching right now, nagko-comment talaga sila in that part of Ang Huling El Bimbo. Let's go to Menchu. Menchu, your part there, playing Joy, was really, really powerful. What was the challenge in getting into that character, that very, very powerful character of Joy?
The Tagalog.
The Tagalog part, okay.
Two major challenges: the Tagalog and lying very still while I was dead anymore.
That was really powerful. I really loved it.
That part.
Well, okay. Here's a little trivia. For those who may not know, I was not supposed to be part of the show.
Okay.
I was part of the creative process, and so we. This is how we started. I think Dexter 217. No, so we got together and we said, okay, we have to create. And we had to create the story based around the Eraserhead song. So me, Dexter, Michael, and Ding Dong were locked in a room with a board and post-its. So we had the timeline. We knew that was the story we were telling. And we had post-its that we would post per timeline. And we would move these things around and so forth, so forth. And that's how the creation began. Now, as we proceeded, we knew that older Joy, was dead. That's why she opens the show lying on the floor covered with newspaper. So there was no older Joy in the storytelling, because it was a flashback of the young ones, and it goes into the present with the older set of the Hector, Anthony, and after Anthony and Eman, Joy is dead. So there was really no reason to have an older Joy. So as we went through the creation of the story, Dexter turns to me and says, "Do you find it funny that we don't have an image of an older Joy?" And I said, "Well, she's dead." He goes, "Yeah, but parang we need an image, just an image." So I said, "Okay." So we're looking around at the cast, and they're all young because everybody in the cast is flashback of them in their school, and the older, when it's present day, they're in the precinct. So we're like, okay, nobody can be older Joy in the cast, and the ones who kind of passed for older became the wives. So we were like, so at this point we were midway. We could not get a new person. There was no more budget. So Dexter turns to me and he goes, "What should we do?" I said, "Well, is it just an image? Like just an image?" He goes, yeah. I said, "Well, I can do that if you want. I can be like an image." He goes, okay, great. Next thing I knew, I had a song, and they gave me alcohol. And I kid you not, I could not sing it in the beginning. So much so that Sheila Francisco actually went up to me and said, "Sis, I'm scared for you. I'm really scared for you." I could not. I was getting tongue-tied. And so Mike and Dexter said, "Okay, let's slow it down for her towards the end." And so that's how my joy evolved. And so I had to sing and learn alcohol. I was literally off stage going, I forgot it already. Whatever, I forgot the lines already. over in a panic just to get it right, So, and then, so that's how older joy happened. So every day I was getting, criticism. Dexter, Tita Menchie, your O's, can you the O's were a little too hard. It's nauuntog, not nauuntog. Okay, I'm sorry. And then part 2 comes in, and Soy comes in, and I have lines. So I'm like, oh my God. But it was a challenge that I accepted, and I did my best, and I gave it as much as I could. I mean, thank you that you think it was a power. I mean, it was wonderful to bring older joy to life. It was quite the challenge. After I overcame the technical side and really worked on where she was and how she was feeling. I thank Dexter and Floyd for giving me that opportunity, and Ding Dong.
And thank you for.
I'm sure it was a challenge that you enjoyed a lot. All right.
Thank you for the patience.
All right. I guess I have one last question to Dexter before we bring in the questions from the live audience. This is a very interesting conversation. To our producers in the Philippine Star, I like this format. No, very very fun. All right, Dexter. I'm throwing a lot of difficult questions to you.
It's okay. It's okay.
Given the success really of Huling El Bimbo online, how do you think this new situation, new reality, will impact the theater industry as we move forward?
I think theater is about gathering. I mean, theater is about you experiencing it. You have the audience. And you have what? You have the performance. I think it's meant to be experienced live. I think we just, with the new normal, I think we just have to wait. I mean, they always tell us, that the theater has been dead for the longest time. I mean, come Western theater, 5th century BC, during the Greek times, we had these theater performances. But during the Dark Ages, there were no performances. But then again, theater thrived. During World War I, there were no theater performances. During World War II, there were no theater performances. I mean, years ago, they've been telling us that the Philippine theater is dead already. But even right before the COVID 2019 crisis, we have a slew of theater performances. I mean, if you want to I mean, if you want to mount a show, you have to be able to book a theater 2 years before for you to be able to book it. So I think it's important that we just wait for that theater, that type of theater, if you experiencing it live. But that does not mean that that artists would be able to create. I mean, the mere fact that that what makes theater alive is that it's very innate and very natural for an artist to express himself, to create. That's why in a Jiffy we have all of these online content, we have all of these readings, we have all of these streamings. I mean, those are ideas that you have to be able to to make it alive. It may not be the same experience, but then again, the mere fact that what you're reading a play, the mere fact that you're creating content which is theater related, the mere fact that you're streaming performances, whether it's what years ago, it was just recent. I mean, it makes the theater still alive. So I think it's a matter of waiting. It's a matter of creating content which we really can't push it. We really can't. It's really hard to gamble. We don't want to sacrifice the safety. For me personally, I don't want to sacrifice the safety of my actors. I don't want to sacrifice the safety of the audiences. And right now, we need to survive. I mean, in every household, we need to survive. And whatever their artists can do online, which can be available, I think that's the least thing that we can do. I'm not a pessimist, but I'm not also too much of a positivist. But I think we just have to wait, and I think it will come. That time that everybody's going to be going back to the theater, experience it live. I mean, going out with your friends, sitting together, laughing, crying together. I think we just have to wait. I think it's also important that during this time that we create a certain awareness for everybody about the industry. That about that Tita mentioned, I have been talking about it. We are actually the last industry to go back to work. I mean, and there are many freelance artists, are who are gonna struggle. But again, we're gonna help each other. I mean, when we're talking about all of those actors, who don't have work, all of those events. We just have to really work and help each other. That's it.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I think there's one question from the audience. If we can show it, Jess, we can actually throw this to Mike. Mike, how do you see theater surviving this year? And is there a way that those who aren't in the theater can still support the Philippine theater? This is coming from Janina Ocampo Van Hoven. Michael, what's your take on this?
Uh, you know, um, I think that, like Dexter, I'm an optimist
Mm-hmm.
in that I think that there will come a time when things go back to close to what we understand to be normal. It's very difficult for us to make any kind of realistic assessment right now because everything is in flux. We don't know enough about this virus. We only know how to mitigate it a little bit. We don't know when a vaccine will come, if a vaccine will come. But if we look um, at how viruses like this have come about in the world, the flu, for example, has made people adapt to it. We have changed the way we behave. Anybody who works in any enclosed space knows that when one person gets a flu, a lot of people are likely to get it. And so there's behavioral changes. Like you go to, oh, I can't come to work today because I think I have the flu. Or, oh, don't, no, I can't kiss you right now because I think I'm coming down with the flu. So people know how to react to mitigate the spread of it or catching it. We also see that kind of behavior with HIV. Uh, the interpersonal relationships have been modified to accommodate for the reality of the existence of HIV in our lives. So, but people still get married, people still have children, people still fall in love. The world turns, with HIV. It's the same. I
Mm-hmm.
think at some point we will get to that point with COVID. We will learn enough about it. We will learn what we can do, what we can't do. There will probably be a vaccine at some point, and maybe at some point too, when enough of the world has been infected and have survived it, there will be a natural kind of herd immunity that they say will
Mm-hmm.
happen, and it won't be as devastating as it may be now because of our ignorance of it.
Mm-hmm.
And even to this day, there are little breakouts of flu. Every time the
Mm-hmm.
flu season comes, there's a group, a company over there. That company, they have, maybe in some theater company, oh, everybody there, that cast, they're all down with the flu. I mean, we get little outbreaks like that. I think in terms of the industry, um, and it's really funny because the first responders in our industry are the artists, immediately creating content, immediately reaching out to their audiences, creating entertainment, and reaching out to their audiences and being with them in this time of isolation and quarantine, creating content for the other half of our industry to create eh, efforts to raise funds, to create some kind of relief for those that are hardest hit in our community, and all of that is happening online. And so it's really funny because we haven't actually stopped working. The artists are creating content. The shakers and the movers of the industry are sitting down and having these introspective conversations about how to go forward amid this changing paradigm, and how do we, and reaching out to government agencies, and showing them what do we contribute to our society and to the economy, and why our industry deserves the kind of relief that other sectors of industry and economy are receiving. So I think that those things are happening now. And again, we can't really say yet because we're still learning a lot about the virus. Right now, things have moved online. So that's one way of doing it. Because, like Dexter said, our industry hinges on a communal experience of people coming together and watching a show, which we can't do now. So a lot of it is going online, and I think people are trying to figure out what the infrastructure for, or making a business model of it somehow.
Yeah.
Figuring out what the economies of that this new thing would be. And I don't want to call it theater still, because it's a hybrid. It's not really theater, because theater is meant to be experienced live, as Dexter was saying. So right now everything's in flux, but it seems like we're creating something new for these different platforms online, and hopefully
Right.
soon, with or without the results of COVID, that we can create an economy for the practitioners for the industry.
Indeed, Michael Williams. Kasi my thought here is that sure you haven't actually stopped performing. You just shifted to another platform, and as you said, na kanina, you don't want to call it theater because it's actually a mix of the
Yeah.
theater content, which is actually just
Yes.
aired over the digital platform. May I just go quickly to
Yeah.
Manchu? Manchu, my question is that kasi most of the time when you talk about theater in the pre-COVID sense is that as Michael mentioned, you have to go to the actual physical theater, but the audience there are very much limited with the physical limitations, of course, ng teatro, and not a lot of people can afford and go there. But now that you've aired this over a popular platform, YouTube and Facebook and the digital platform, I read a comment there na parang the more that you democratize itong pagdala ng teatro sa masa, mas dumadami actually ang nakaka-appreciate ng teatro. And when we go back to the situation na pwede na tayong pumunta ulit sa physical na teatro, are you expecting a lot more people watching and patronizing theatrical performances, Menchu?
Well, I'm hoping that that is the effect of the streaming, because, like you said, a lot of people can't really afford the prices of a theater show, or would rather use that money for something more important. So yes, I'm hoping that that is the effect of the streaming of Bimbo. And I know that a lot of people, because we see the comments, have actually never seen it on stage. So they were very happy to actually get to see it streamed. And a lot of people were like, okay, what is the next show we will watch? So I guess that is the advantage of streaming, but nothing, of course, beats the live experience of it, because to be there in the actual space, to get the mood, to be brought into that world is a totally different experience. And this streaming of Ang Huling El Bimbo, this was not recorded for that purpose. This was really for our archives. So we had never thought that this would happen and that we would end up streaming Ang Huling El Bimbo. So that is something that we were lucky that we were able to do that with this particular streaming that was actually shot in HD. But if you look at other companies like the National Theatre, they do record all their shows and they do stream it, and for people, and they put a big what do you call this, movie screen outside, and they stream it so that a lot of people have more access to it. So yes, I think it's a great way to bring it out to people who would not necessarily come to the theater. And I think given what COVID gave us, that other side of thinking now, okay, let's stream it, as a result, bringing in more people to appreciate the theater and people who've never seen El Bimbo. So I'm hoping, yeah, if we can continue to do this after a show has been performed, then we can stream it and then reach out to other people in the hopes that these people will now come and watch the actual live performance of it.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, mas maraming nakakapanood, mas maraming magkaka-interest, no? In the piece of art. I mean, sometimes some people would say, "Oh, sige, ito lang yung kilala naming art form." But when you introduce them to something new and something novel that they haven't actually experienced before, dun tumutubo yung gana nila. I guess there's a question for Gian. Can we take a look at that question, Jess? From our live audience. Marami kayatong fans ngayon, Gian. Ayun, from Juan Miguel Enriquez. To Gian, how do you find that balance in managing corporate life while doing theater?
I think I haven't answered that question yet. But to be very honest, I'm constantly balancing that. It's really a management of yourself, because as an actor, you are your business, and that's the only way you can probably somehow prioritize how you're gonna decide, or what you're gonna choose, because what you choose is what will determine which path, or you will prioritize in the coming months. I put it this way sometimes because I'm forced to put it this way, but like how I decide is that, okay, I'll do a musical because I can I afford it? Can I afford the musical for the next 3 months? So let's see how the financials will go for the quarter, for example, or like for the half of the year. So I still base it somewhat personally. Well, this is just me, okay? I don't know for other people, because my source of income, or the income streams that I have, will only be also just because of this? Or do I see it as an investment? Will I invest in myself and be in this musical, or be in this project, or no matter what it is? Because sometimes you can't base it also on just the monetary value, or like what is the monetary value of it? Will the monetary value be more after doing this? So do I see it as a form of promotion? As you can see, it's more of like it's a bigger decision to make than just like, okay, I'll take on this role because I love it and I want to do it, and forget about the finances. Of course not, because I have to remember my priorities, my responsibilities, my obligations, just like everybody else. So it's a constant balance until, I guess, if you're willing to do that, it's not something that's there's a certain stress level to it, of course. But then again, going back to our first question at the first part of the show, do I love what I'm doing? Am I passionate about this? And most of the time, I guess for every artist, most of the artists, no matter what you're doing, singing, or you're a musician, or you're a painter, the financials or anything that you do, I guess if you're purposeful in doing it, and you're really thinking about what you really want to do, and you have that goal, it's inevitable sometimes that if the income will just come in, it will just follow, and you have to have faith. You have to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith in the industry, no matter what you do. One example, not like for example, is recording. I'm also a recording artist. We all know that when we make an album nowadays or music, we really don't get that much from royalties. But why am I interested doing this now? Or like why I know I'll be investing money in it, but that's the whole point of it. Sometimes is it just about the money, or it's a double it's a double blade thing. Like you're like
Yeah.
investing, but at the same time you want to put out your art, and at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
you're hoping it will come back and hoping it serves its purpose, but not hoping that hoping at the same time it will earn money, and then hoping at the same time that it will serve its purpose. Am I making sense? You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Actually, Sheehan, this is just one of the questions also. Because most of the people would think, okay, I'm an artist, so I just do things out of passion. But a lot of times we miss the economic part of it. Na parang, yes, of course, acting and doing the art and being on stage is actually a source of living. I mean, part of livelihood. That's why we call it career. Quickly, Gian, um, you were an
Wait, just
OFW.
yeah, but
Sige,
just to
go.
add, sorry to disrupt you, but just to add also, because I have this, when you do something and you're really not earning money from it, it's really not a livelihood. It's a
That's true.
hobby. That's how I consider it. But instead of using the word hobby here, especially here in the Philippines, it's really more of a service. You're doing a
It's
service to everybody because you're not
yeah,
earning money from it. You're in
yeah,
deficit of doing this. So you have to find a way to like somewhat ease your mind why you're doing this,
yeah,
because you're doing it out of your passion, out of the
yeah,
losing money. So
yeah.
you also have to make a way to find ways to get to survive,
Mm-hmm,
because you know that it's not a livelihood. That
mm-hmm,
if I would put on my businessman hat at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, you're losing money doing this. Why am I still doing this? So a lot of it has to do with the
mm-hmm.
passion and really wanting to do it, and the service for people. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
art moves people, and we need, we all at one point in our
Mm-hmm,
lives are, art involves us in a personal level that really changes and moves waves.
mm-hmm. That's true. I
Sorry,
mean,
is it there?
that's a very sensitive topic in the industry, no? Yeah, I mean, this is a very sensitive topic in the industry. No? Parang when people talk about theater or any other art form, it's okay, it's my passion. But then when you start talking about money and talking about earning, medyo people start to raise their eyebrows and sometimes people start to cringe. Parang, why do I have to pay for entertainment? Why do I have to pay for art? It actually brings back to our conversation. Kanina, not a lot of people are willing to pay for theater. So medyo sensitive ito. I guess there's one question coming in for everyone. Jess, can we pull it up? There. Can you talk us through the dilemma of choosing between passion and economic stability for aspiring theater artists? Michael, maybe can we get your insights on this, Mike?
Uh, I always tell young artists that they need to weigh their decisions. Like Gian was saying, it isn't always about economy. It's also about you developing yourself as an artist, which means choosing work that will add to you, that you can learn from, doing material that is good, working with actors that are good, working with directors that are good, working in a professional theater company that will support you and allow you to be good. So all of those things add to you. So you could decide, will this job make me money or will I learn from it? What are the benefits that I would get from doing this particular project? Um, that project, like Gian said, could also be okay, wow, it's great cast, it's a great director, it's good material. I could be good in this show. I may not be getting paid a lot, but it will give me publicity. I will be seen and I will be seen in a good role and I will be able to do that role well. So then you kind of compensate. You think, okay, so I'll take less money, but it adds to my career. It's part of career building. So you weigh things in that way, or sometimes you think about it. Okay, this is a project. I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna sing for 2 songs, but I'm gonna get paid this much money. So I'm gonna do that because having this money now will enable me to do those projects that I could learn from, that I could increase my skill from by working with the different people. So that's how you think about the work that you do. You weigh it in terms of either its financial value to you, or how it might increase you as an artist, or increase your career in terms of positioning you with, you know, um, working with good people, working with better people, working in a good show. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how you plot yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right. Because sometimes, I mean, even in the office setting, sometimes some of the kids would say, kids talaga, no? Some of the younger people would say, na parang, oh, this job pays me little. But what I tell them is that what lesson will you get? What kind of experience will you get from this particular post? Even if it's paying you, not the way you imagine it to be. Pero marami kang madedevelop na contact. You'll be exposed to a lot of tasks, a lot of roles. Dun mo mahuhugot eh. And of course,
Yeah.
never ever forget, as Gian mentioned, never ever forget na don't sell naman yourself cheaply. No, you have to know how much you're worth. I guess there's another question from our audience. I'd like to ask this from Dexter Dex.
Yeah.
What can you advise those youth who are aspiring to be theater actors or to be in the industry?
Yeah,
What
that has
thing
been, yeah,
advice that you
that
would
has been the question that I've been receiving from the random people who've been able to watch. I mean, I want to be a theater actor. What should I do? I
yeah.
mean, I think what's very important. Number one for me, you have to be able to read plays. Yeah. Number two, join the theater production. Audition. Number three, watch plays, watch good movies. Like for example, if you have good TV series, I think those things are very important. You have to be able to understand. But I think the best way for you to be able to be a good aspiring theater actor, you have to be able to listen, you have to be able to be committed, and you have to be able to be passionate about your work. That when you entered something, you have to be able to give your all, you have to be able to commit everything from beginning till the end. And you got to be tough, really tough.
Yeah, that's important though. What I want to zero in on is that you have to be able to learn how to listen. Because a lot of times people would think, okay, I'm an actor, so I'll just narrate and voice out the lines that I need to deliver on stage. Pero not a lot of people would imagine that it takes a lot of absorbing, no, a lot of learning about the character, about even you're outside the theater, you study the character of people around you by listening to their conversations. Menchu, what's your recommendation to those who aspire to be in the theater industry?
Well, same things that Dexter said. I think it's very important that you really, because a lot of people see the results. Okay, so you
Mm-hmm.
see this production and you say, "Oh my God, I want to be a part of that." But you see the finished results. You don't see the challenges, the difficulty, the hard work, the dedication that goes into that. I mean, it's months of rehearsals every day. It's blood, sweat, and tears. It's learning choreography. It's singing songs every single day, which can be very, very vocally exhausting. So they don't see that part of what happens behind the scenes, what it takes to put up a production. That's why they have to really experience it. They have to audition. They have to watch as many shows as they can so that they understand the world of the theater. You can't just go into it thinking, oh, okay, I can sing, so I can do a musical. It goes way beyond just being able to sing. If you are part of a musical, it's interpreting the song according to your character, because the songs you're given are not necessarily songs, they're dialogue that is put into music. So you have to know how to translate that, how to sing in character and not become you singing all of a sudden. So there's a lot of things that go into it. So I think it helps if you equip yourself. You take voice lessons, you take dance lessons, because it helps you when you're on stage, because you don't have close-ups. Your whole body is seen. So if you engage your body, if you know how to move your body, if you know how to use your body, then it helps you. If dancing is required, then you're ready for it. Because a lot of times you're not even singing in a comfortable vocal range. The songs may not be written for you if you sing existing material. So you have to adjust. You have to learn how to sing those songs. You have to learn how to sing it without losing your voice, because you're singing it every single day. So you have to come in prepared, knowing that it is a lot of hard work, and it's not. I mean, the actors try to make it look easy, but that's after a month or 2 months of rehearsing and doing it every single day. So it's a lot of frustration. I mean, they have to be ready for that. It's a lot of frustration. It's a lot of, going home and saying, oh my God, I can't do this role, or I can't sing this role, or so they have to be ready for that, and they have to come in prepared.
Yeah, I mean, with that match, would you still recommend people to, dream to be in a major production to get into the theater industry?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, after you go through it and you work it, and you do opening night, and you come out of it and saying, "Oh my God, I did it." Despite the difficulty, and you come out there and you take your bow, and the audience is clapping and applauding you, and everybody's congratulating you, and deep inside you did a good job, because when you didn't. I mean, let's all be honest here. You come out of it saying, okay, that performance sucked. Or you come out of it saying, okay, I was in the zone today. It's live performance. You're not the same every day. There are days you come in, and I know this for a fact, and Gian and Michael can attest to it. You open your mouth and you say, okay, this is going to be a hard show. My voice is not nice.
Yeah.
Or you open your mouth and you say, okay, this is going to be a breeze. My voice is really cooperating today. So, yeah. But it's not without its challenges. I mean, diba, we come out and say, "Oh my God, that was really bad. I'm sorry," and that's the beauty of live. Is you may have had a fantastic show yesterday, and today you're not quite feeling that great, and as you get older, you start to experience really getting exhausted, which didn't affect me when I was younger. But yes, absolutely, that shouldn't stop you, because the rewards, the learning, the experience, the bonding, the education you get, because there's a lot of research involved. If you're doing a period piece, then you have to learn, you have to research, you have to learn about the time it was done, why it was done. You come out a better person if you do theater. I truly, truly believe that.
You come out a better person. That's really amazing. I mean, how theater can change you for the better, no, Manchu? Yeah. I guess before we go to the question from the audience addressed to Dexter, maybe I'll just go quickly to Gian. Gian, as mentioned by Manchu kanina, the preparation is not just for that particular production. No, you don't prepare. Okay, sige, pag-aralan ko tong role na to because this is the role that I'm gonna be doing in this particular production. But it's a whole series of learning from everywhere and everything for you to be able to absorb certain nuances of a character, certain attacks to a character. How do you prepare for that, Gian?
Okay. All my directors are watching right now. Thanks, Michael. I don't know. First of all, I'm not good at answering this type of question because there's so many things that work for different types of actors. Okay, I don't think number one, hindi ako cerebral actor. Okay, hindi ako yung ang pangit naman pakinggan, hindi ba? Or it doesn't sound nice na so hindi ka nag-iisip, parang gano'n. Pero more of ako yung tipong I observe and I listen and I react. And I try to do that more of and study the notes that the director gives. And of course, what the writer wants and what the script, the context provides. So those are like my processes, and I try to make it as simple as possible to get from point A to point B in every line that I say or every process that we go through collaboratively. That's how I get into my character and finding out who that person is, because that person or the character we're going to portray is going to be someone that that will make certain choices that makes that type of person, and the choices can be broken down into different things, physically, attitude wise, and how he will react and what choices he made. Building of a character. That's how I will. Well, for me, that's how I do it, and of course, definitely with the guidance of your co-actors and your
Mm-hmm.
directors. So it doesn't happen like, how do I prepare? I guess the basic answer would be, I have to be well. I have to be healthy. I have to take care of myself to be able to go to rehearsal. I have to have
Mm-hmm.
the right frame of mind to be able to go to
Mm-hmm.
work.
That's right. I mean, preparation sa sarili mo talaga yon, no, Gian? Before we go to the question for Dexter, I'll go muna to Menchu. Menchu, there is a program, there is a group, the original Filipino Performing Arts Foundation,
Yeah.
that recognizes the talent of the Filipino through dance, script writing, theater lighting, and more. Can you tell us more about this?
Okay, that's the OPA Foundation. This was a
Mm-hmm.
foundation that Dr. Andrew Tan was very interested in putting up. Basically, what it is we tie up with schools, and
Mm-hmm.
we offer, if they pass the school requirements, then they come to us and then they audition for us. And if they pass, then we pay for their schooling. Anything that has to do with the performing arts, whether it's performing or doing backstage work. So I decide to do theater arts with Mint College, or you can take voice with Saint Scholasticus and so forth, or technical theater with Benilde. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what we've done. And this came about because it occurred to us that the Filipinos are very, very talented people. That there's no
Indeed.
question there. But what we lack is the technical aspect of it. We don't have, and a lot of times the people who want to study it don't really have the financial for it, or they are not supported by their parents because they're like, oh, hindi ka naman kikita dyan, wag ka na lang mag-theater arts. So this is a way for them to be able to pursue their dreams without having to worry about the financial aspect. So that's what it is. And to this date, we have 50 scholars that we are sending to the various schools that are in partnership with us. And I think we already have 2 graduates. And this is in everything from voice, acting, technical theater, set design, lighting design, and all of that is included in the OPA Foundation. And we cover their entire college expenses. If it's 7 years, then it's 7 years. So it's really a great foundation. And we are we love it when Michael and I have to listen to these very, very talented kids audition. And a lot of them are really completely raw, but you see the potential in them. So we're very proud of this particular foundation, and because really we have to prepare the youth. They are the generation of tomorrow. They're the theater people of tomorrow. So we are trying to get them ready for that.
Very interesting, very generous indeed. I mean, so Manso, how do they enroll? How do they get into that scholarship?
Well, first they have to go to the schools and they have to pass the
Mm-hmm.
requirements of the school. So the school has a list of requirements that they have to go through. Now, once they're accepted, then they can audition. They just email us, and then we set up an audition for them, and that's how it goes. If they pass the audition, then that's it. We pay for their entire schooling.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe we can just pull up one last question from the audience. I guess this addressed to Dexter. There. How's the theater scene looking university-wise, considering that some of AHEB's cast were from UP Diliman and were your students? Ayun.
Yeah. I mean, just before this interview, I was in a meeting. So I think same thing also with professional theater. We have to be able to wait. I think this is the best time to actually work in terms of working with theories, in terms of tapping, like for example, working in terms of production, of publicity, working with online content. I think this is the best time to actually work on it and study all of those things. or maybe working with performances rather than working with scenes. We can work with monologues, which we can actually what they can video and send it to us, and we can actually what
Mm-hmm.
give critics or comments. I think we have to be able to adjust. Again, same thing as like what I told you earlier. We do not want to sacrifice the safety of everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but then again, it's the best way to actually to gauge the things that we can actually use, the actually things that we actually weigh what we can do in order to still that it's still alive. Again, just like what Michael said, it is really not theater, but then again, it's another way of working with theater related content. I mean, you can work with editing, you can work with working with other apps in order to there are workshops that you can actually better yourselves, like singing or dancing. I mean, it may not be as comprehensive, but then again, it's still a training. It's something that you will still learn and get from all of these things. So there, we just have for me, we just have to wait. But then again, if you don't feel like if during this quarantine, if you don't feel like learning or if you don't feel like absorbing anything, it's okay, it's fine. Give yourself that time. But if you're willing to go, that you want to do something, there are other platforms that would be available. So I think that's the best way to actually face the crisis in terms for especially for theater students.
I like the way you put it, no, Dexter, kasi sometimes we feel the pressure na parang, oh, everyone's taking this Ivy League certification course and whatnots. Parang we're pressuring ourselves to perform and produce something during this quarantine. But as you said nga, parang if
No,
you feel
yeah,
like
I
not,
mean, yeah, sorry.
go ahead, Dexter.
Yeah. I mean, just for artists, even. I mean, you don't have to do something. I mean, I mean, if it's not there, I mean, at the end of the day, why did we cancel all of these classes? Because there are students who actually what need to survive more rather than to think of other things. I mean, we have to be
Yeah.
sensitive. It's a time for survival. We have to be able to think about that. I mean, there are people who are very fortunate that you have all of these things that you can get some Netflix and read plays. But there are people that are very talented artists also that need to survive, and that they need to think about the future. So I think let's not put the pressure on them. The time will come when they're ready. And when they're ready, I think there are many things that would be available in different parts of media, different platforms that would help them better themselves and still express themselves. And I think that's it. I think it's a time to follow the quarantine rules. It's a time to to help each other and be sensitive, and just like for example, like helping other people donating through the streaming of Ahab. I mean, that's really something. I mean, that's a way of supporting the theater. It's a way of supporting. I mean, not only the crisis, but supporting the artist as well. I mean, we may not get that monetary fund. I mean, that monetary financial help from you guys, but the idea, that you guys clicking or tapping that decision to actually watch a TikTok. I mean, Huling El Bimbo over a TikTok. I mean, ang Huling El Bimbo over a YouTube sensation. That mere decision of you just clicking it. I mean, that's a big help for the industry. You're giving the industry a chance. And when all of this is finished, it's a reminder that, hindi lang po ang Huling El Bimbo ang show sa Pilipinas. Hindi lang po ang Huling El Bimbo ang show sa theater. Sobrang dami pa at sobrang galing pa. But then again, it's a start. It's a beginning. And we're very, very happy. Sorry, so segue ako.
No, this is very interesting,
Yeah,
actually, Dexter.
because I
Kasi,
think it's a happy day for us. I mean, the mere
Yeah.
fact that 12,
Yeah.
12 million. I mean, we didn't
Yeah.
think about it. We're not. It's not really something. It's not a bragging rights, but it's something that really thankful because, I mean, we have our own thread. Na we thought that Imagine Theater can be a very, very good vehicle for something which is much more meaningful. It's not after those standing ovation. It's not after all of those, wild curtain calls or whatever. It's something new. You helping other people. That's really special. Sorry, medyo na-touch ako kasi.
but this is really, really
I mean-
important. Yeah, really, really important, Dexter. Because I mean,
Yeah.
some people would think that parang they have to go out and brave the risk outside just to do something good during this quarantine time. But sometimes, even if just like staying home, just donating while we're inside our own houses can already go a long way for the people who have the need. You know what, we're doing a really overtime in this conversation. You're supposed to be airing for 1 hour lang, pero pasok pa rin ng pasok yung mga questions. Sige lang. Maybe we can have one last question for this panel. How most of the theater actors deal with failures and rejection in auditions or casting. I think this is very important. Let's go to Menchu. Kasi Menchu and also Michael, no, you've been through really, really challenging mentors when you were starting. How did you survive? And how did that experience make you who you are today, Menchu?
Okay.
With great difficulty. Well, it was difficult. Zenaida Mador, Baby Barredo are fabulous at what they do, but they are not known for their patience. But you just hang in there and you try to learn as much as you can. I've had my share of bad reviews. I've had my share of disappointments. I think I've been through the gamut of emotions as far as the theater is concerned, frustrations. You get to a point where you take what works for you and you leave what doesn't. I mean, you can only do so much. After all, you're human. So you learn from it. It's hard. It was difficult training. Lots of crying, lots of sleepless nights, but you pick yourself up. You either choose to, it's actually your choice. You have the choice to, dust yourself off, get up and start all over again, or stay there and refuse to continue. I chose to get up there despite everything and learn from it. And looking back, I'm thankful that I did, because as painful as the experience may have been, there was also the other side where you come out of it and you say, hey, that wasn't so bad. Hey, I did good. And it's step by step. You just get better and better and better. And then as you get older and you get wiser and you get more experience, then you start to learn how to identify your craft and what you can and cannot do. And you don't push yourself when you know this is beyond you. Because like I said, we're human. You have to know what your faults are, have to know what your strengths are, and you build on that. And if you get a challenging role and it's a little outside of your comfort zone, then you find ways to work around that. And that's what the experience gave me, because when you were in the early days of rep, you could not choose. You were just thrown into that role and bahala ka sa buhay mo.
Yeah.
And you can't say, oh, I don't think I think I can. There was no such animal. You just do what you're told. You could not stand up and say, I think I'd take a pass on this one. Maybe this is not my vocal range. That's how we were trained. So we really had to take voice lessons, because today I'm a soprano and tomorrow I'm an alto. And so we kind of drove our vocal ranges crazy. Just trying to do all the roles that were passed on to us. But we were also lucky that we came into rep when there were 5 plays per season. So we were going from one play to another, waking up, rehearsing one at lunchtime, and then leaving for the theater to do the matinee, and then rehearsing in between, and then doing the evening performance. So that's how we got trained. And some of the times I had no idea what I was doing. I really had no idea what I was doing. But I learned, and I watched, and with each mistake, I said, okay, I'm not supposed to do that pala, or oh, I can't push pala my voice because then it cracks, so I have to control the emotion. So that's how I learned. And so you shouldn't let it get you down. You shouldn't. In fact, sometimes making mistakes are a good thing, because you learn from it.
Yeah.
I would be afraid if I was perfect, because then there's no more learning. And once you think you know everything, then you're dead. So every role is a learning experience. Every role is something you've never done. Every score you sing is something you've never done. So it's a new experience. You can't say, oh, I've done it all, which is impossible, because there's always material that is out there that you've never done. So yeah, continue. You get frustrated, then that's good. It'll make you work harder. You make a mistake, then that's good. Learn from it. That's what's important, is you learn from it.
You learn from it. That's very, very important. Because for some people, they think that parang, they get to that point in their lives, in their careers, that parang they're already sikat, they're already big. But the reality is, you have to go through a lot of experiences to bring you where you are right now. Michael, I heard of flying chairs in the early days of rap before. I mean, how did this
Yes.
stern discipline help you become who you are right now and propelled your career in the international stage?
Uh, First of all, I'll tell you a little story about how I got into rap.
Mm-hmm.
I I auditioned for them in 1982, right? So I got up on stage and I sang. And after about 2 bars, I got thank you'd off stage. So I got off and I was thinking, why are they thank youing me off stage? Because I can sing. So I went back around and I auditioned a second time. So I get up on stage and she goes, Baby Barreto goes, oh, you again. And then I sang. And after 2 bars, I got thank you again. And I was so angry by that time. I couldn't understand why they didn't want to get me because I can sing. So I go back around a third time. And when I got up there on the third time, I said to the pianist, please, can you please not play? And then I said, I'm going to sing a cappella, right? And then I remember I sang Something's Coming from West Side Story. And then let me finish the song. And I got in. So, this was me, asserting myself and saying, no, I can do this. I can learn. I can do it. Yeah. And then there were the flying chairs and the yelling and the screaming and all of that. But I went in there also with an open mind and saying, you know, uh, I don't know everything there is to know about what's going on, right? And everybody seems to know what they're doing. So it was a lot of listening and a lot of absorbing and a lot of trying and making the effort and participating. Um, and there is a lot of rejection. That's part of it. Anytime anybody gets up in front of a group of people, you're always thinking, oh, what are they thinking about the way I look? What are they thinking about what I wear or what I sound like? And that actually, to some degree, never really goes away. You always get nervous just before you go on stage, and that's partly why you're wondering: Are you going to do well? Are they going to judge you? But that's the nature of the work. You're exposing
Mm-hmm.
yourself, everything that you are. You're exposing all of who you are to your audience, and learning to use your skills and your abilities to tell your story and your character will endear you to your audience or affect your audience in a way that is required. So it's really a lot of getting up back in that saddle, trying again and again and again, and before you know it, you would make your successes. You will hit your goals. You will make your mark. So it's really just keeping at it.
That's right. I mean, don't surrender. Because a lot of people sometimes, if
Yeah.
they get rejected once, oh sige,
Mhm.
ayoko na. But
Yeah.
then hear your stories. You've done and
Yeah.
you've received a lot of rejections. Of course,
Oh yeah.
maraming hits yan sa self-confidence
Oh
mo.
yeah.
But then, sige lang, patuloy lang. Yeah? All right. So, oh my God. This is a very interesting conversation. But then, I think pwede natin ipagpatuloy in the chat. Just before we say thank you to everyone, I would like to ask this question from my friend Pat Andaya. This is very very interesting. I'd like to shoot this to everyone. He's watching right now in Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
If you weren't in the theater now, what would you be doing today? Kung wala ka sa teatro ngayon, ano kayang trabaho mo ngayon? Maybe I should start with GN.
Like literally, what will we be doing today?
Yeah.
I would
Ano
have
kayong trabaho
been
mo?
I would have been in carousel. Oh, nasa carousel dapat ako ka ngayon. Nag-show. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, because
Mensu.
ngayon yung schedule ng carousel itong May dapat from Repertory Philippines.
Oh,
So
right, yeah.
if I were in the theater today, actually, well, Monday was going to be probably a rest day from a show last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true, that's true. Mensu, kung
Yeah.
wala ka sa teatro ngayon, Ano kaya yung
Is
trabaho
this
mo?
can I clarify? Is this a question of career? If I wasn't in the
Career,
theater,
What
yeah,
career?
career. If,
Okay.
Wait,
yeah, if,
sorry. I thought you meant like what we're gonna be to doing. What if there was no COVID? Yun
yeah,
ba?
yeah. If you weren't in
Ah,
the theater career right
oh,
now.
I'm
Gian,
sorry. I'm
answer mo
sorry.
na.
I'm sorry.
Gian,
I'm
sige,
sorry.
okay lang.
I took it literally. I took it literally. Kung anong gagawin natin today. If I wasn't in theater, I probably would have wanted to pursue being a chef.
A chef.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I wanna because I love cooking. A lot of people don't know that I don't really broadcast that, but well, I love eating more, I guess. So I like to
Pero
be.
G, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
having dinner in your house yata some years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, yeah. I'd probably be a chef, and I'm always jealous of those people who can, like own a restaurant or something. And that's
Yeah.
still one of my dreams, actually. I'd like to be a cook or a chef.
Interesting. Menchu, what about you? If wala ka sa teatro.
You know that I've been asked this question before, and I really don't have an answer. I really don't, because I started in the theater at 15, so I had no other opportunity to think of another career. Maybe advertising. I don't know, something creative. I don't see myself behind a desk per se. I suck at math, so accounting is out. I really have no idea. Maybe advertising. Maybe advertising.
Maybe
but,
advertising. Yeah, advertising
but
is very
something
interesting.
creative. Something creative. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Michael? Kung wala ka sa teatro.
That's also like Menchu. I really don't know because I was studying with Ludette Dairit in Cordon Bleu, Manila, when I was younger. So that's cooking. And then after that, I took 2 years of computer science in college. So there's that. Um, so I don't know exactly what I would be if I didn't do anything related to the arts. But the one thing that's consistent is that I was always singing, even as a child. I was always singing. So maybe if I didn't become a theater person, I would probably be a singer of some sort, maybe in a band or, something like that, maybe.
Still a
But
performer, yeah?
yeah, I think somehow, yeah.
But Michael bakes really good bread.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have to try that.
Michael,
We have
Michael
to
is a
try that.
baker. He's a wonderful
baker.
baker.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Dexter, what about you? Kung wala ka sa
What do
teatro
you
ngayon, nasaan ka?
I graduated from Manila Science High School, which is a science school. So ang first choice ko was BA Theater Arts. My second choice was BS Chemistry, BS Physics, then BS Biology. Wow. So
Oh my God.
my God talaga. so most likely, andun ako, siguro pero I'm sure mga 2 years lang ako doon, aalis din ako. So pupunta rin ako somewhere creative. So thank God, nasa theater ako.
Very, very interesting indeed.
I
I
never
enjoy
knew
this
that.
conversation.
But
Yeah.
but
I was
just to put something in there, that's the thing of being an artist. You bring in to your art all the different experience and your different passions and the things, how you perceive the world and how how you engage with the world. All of that you bring with you when you perform or when you sing or when you paint, all of that. So I mean, that's why you see so many different kinds of people in theater.
yeah.
That's true. That's true. This has been a very, very, very interesting, long conversation, but I believe everyone enjoyed it.
Sorry.
And no. I mean, a lot of people are watching right now. I mean, when we started early, actually, and now we're
Ang
extending
daldal
beyond our time slot. But then,
That's one
sobrang
thing about
thank you.
theater people. Madaldal kami. Sorry na lang.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had Gian Magdangal, who played Hector in Ang Huling El Bimbo, TV and theater actor, and also a recording artist. Also in the panel, Mr. Michael Williams, co-artistic director of Full House Theater Company. And of course, very, very lovely lady, Menchu Lauchenko Yulo, co-artistic director of Full House Theater Company. And of course, Dexter Santos, the director and choreographer of Ang Huling El Bimbo. Maraming salamat sa inyong time and your insights that you shared with us this afternoon. I really enjoyed the conversation this afternoon. Maybe final words from each one of you. Manchu, can we start with you?
Well, yes, and I'd like to thank all the people who supported Ang Huling El Bimbo, who watched it, who donated. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope to someday go back to the normal we know and bring back live theater. So let's hope that is in the near future rather than not. So, but in the meantime, stay safe.
Indeed. Thank you very much. You stay safe also, Manchu.
Thank you.
All right, Michael, final words.
Thank you for watching us today. Thank you for supporting Ang Huling El Bimbo when it was playing in the theaters, and also for supporting it online. Your support there helped a lot of the people that were negatively impacted by this pandemic. And hopefully, for those of you who had never seen theater before and had watched Ang Huling El Bimbo and seen how some of our performers are, and the material that's being done now in Philippine theater. Hope that on the other side of this pandemic, that you'll be more inclined to come and support local theater, watch the shows, and be supportive of our industry. I bid you all stay safe and be healthy.
Stay safe, and be healthy too, Michael Williams. Dexter, final words.
Yeah. A few words. Thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. Ang Huling El Bimbo was a labor of love for everybody, and it means so much to us that you're able to share your love also through donating to ABS-CBN's Pantawid ng Pag-ibig. If you have somebody, a relative or a friend that you know that's working in the arts or that's working in the live events, please ask them, or say hi to them, or ask how they're doing, and it would mean a lot. And to everybody, thank you for giving Ang Huling El Bimbo streaming version a chance. There are many other theater performances still that are streaming, so please give them a chance also. And we shall wait for you and see each other in the theater when everything's all ready.
Indeed, the theater is waiting for everyone when all this problem is solved na. Dexter, maraming salamat. And now, Gian, final words to our friends watching right now.
Yes, thank you, Ken, and thank you to everybody. Thank you to everyone who watched. And of course, maraming salamat dun sa lahat ng mga nanood at tumangkilik dun sa Ang Huling El Bimbo sa live at dun sa stream. And of course, we're very grateful for everybody who sent their help, yung mga nag-donate. And we're also sending a thank you. And also, we want to tell everybody that we're also excited to get back there on stage to be able to share new stories. And please don't forget also na ang dami din ibang mga musical theater shows na hindi pa nakikita siguro online, or alam din natin na ang dami mga ibang theater companies na nandyan na ngayon, na siguro na mas aware ngayon yung mga tao, mga Filipino all over the world, na may ganitong may mga ganito tayong mga palabas. So maraming salamat. And it's what they say in theater, and before you enter the stage, safety first. Para sa actors at sa audience. So talagang let's all keep safe muna, and magkikita-kita rin tayo.
Right, magkikita-kita rin tayo. Gian, isang request lang. Pwede bang isa o dalawang linya mula sa Huling El Bimbo?
Sa Huling El Bimbo?
Yeah, the money note.
There you go.
Teka lang, may gitara dito eh. Gusto nyo mag-gitara?
Yeah.
Game!
The money note.
The money note, yan. The money note.
Lahat ng pangarap ko'y bigla lang natunaw. Sa panaginip na lang pala kita maisasaya.
Thank you very much, Gian Magdangal. Thank you very much, Michael
Thank you,
if
Williams,
na,
Gian.
Mensula
if na may
Tequila,
gitara
and
bigla.
Dexter Santos. Ang Huling El Bimbo looking for an encore, a performing arts career conversation here at CG Live. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. And we'd like to announce the winners of our hashtag CG Mother's Day promo. I guess, thank you very much to our guests. And we can show now the posters of our winner. For Conrad Manila's spa voucher, we'd like to congratulate Joanna Mozo, Fit Flop Sandos, Leslie Grande, Cam Arcilia, Normie Lucille Ana Avila. And also for Momax Selfie Stable Gimbal, congratulations to Christopher Medallo and Brenda Cabardo. Just before we say goodbye, we also would like to say thank you to our friend from Resorts World Manila, Miss Joy Andrade. Maraming salamat for making this conversation possible. And also a reminder to everyone, you can still get a copy of the Philippine Star at 7-Eleven, Alpha Mart, All Day, Mercury Drug, and Mini Stop stores. Subscribe to philstarsubscribe.com to have your physical copy or of the avail of the free 30-day e-copy trial by visiting epaper.philstarmedia.com. We've had a very long episode today, but we enjoyed a lot. Maraming salamat for staying with us here. And see you again next week here at the CG Live over career guide page of the Philippine Star. Maraming salamat po for joining us in this conversation. Have a great day ahead. Have a great week ahead. God bless us all. And good afternoon.
La la Lumipas ang maraming taon, di na tayo nagkita.
Balita ko may anak ka na, ngunit walang asawa.
Tagahugas ka raw ng pinggan sa may ermita.
At isang gabi, nasagasaan sa isang madilim na eskinita.
Lahat ng pangarap ko'y bigla lang natunaw. Sa panaginip na lang pala kita maisasayaw. Magkahawak ang aking kamay at walang kamalay-malay na tinuruan mo ang puso ko na umibig na tunay. Magkahawak ang ating kamay at walang kamalay-malay na tinuruan mo ang puso ko na umibig na tunay. Walang humpay na ligaya, basta